one of his friends, Bronson Alcott, had come to town a few years before and spoken about political action. For instance, how could one pay one's taxes to a government which justified the holding of slaves? So Thoreau had stopped paying his taxes a number of years before he went to Walden Pond. And there he was at the pond. He walked into town, and famously, Sam Staples accosted him and said, "You need to pay your taxes, and if you won't, I need to put you in jail." And he told Sam, "Well, I'm not paying my taxes, so I guess you'll have to take me to jail." Sam puts Thoreau in jail. They're friends, but he still puts his friend in jail. And when Thoreau was released from jail the next morning, walking through the town, talking to people, he realized that they didn't understand why he'd taken the stance that he had. He wrote a long lecture, what became Civil Disobedience, and he laid it all out for them. And the principle is very simple. It's that you do not lend yourself to an injustice that you condemn. So withdrawing, on the one hand, his sense of complicity with the immoral actions of the government of the United States by not paying taxes, you could say, well, this was about himself, his own moral purity. But that wouldn't have made much of a lecture, would it? Why tell your townspeople about that? It was to enlarge the circle of their own understanding of their own actions. So what about Sam Staples? Sam didn't have to put him in jail. Sam could have taken his own moral stance and said, I understand the principle and I think you're right and I will not jail you. Well, that would have put Sam on the spot, but then Sam would have put somebody else on the spot. And in a way, what civil disobedience calls for is a kind of cascade of virtue, right? The principle is simple, but it's so powerful because it's interpersonal. It's not about yourself. It's about how you live and the justice of your life with others. And that expanding cascade of virtue that he hopes that this essay will begin